Welcome, everyone, to today's show, today's episode, where we feature another woman entrepreneur, speaker, and influencer who is making her mark in the place that God has called her to be a voice of influence. So if you're just tuning in today, I want you to let me know where you're showing up from, where you are joining us from, and be sure and share this with other women entrepreneurs or other women who want to really know how it is to integrate their faith into their business, but also want to know and hear about other women who are doing it and be inspired. So I have a special guest with me today that actually we've never met in person, but that's the beauty of the internet, is that we can develop relationships, we can have connections across the world and really be able to build relationships because of the beauty of the internet. And so that's how I met Heather. So I want to welcome Heather to the stage. Hello, Heather.
Hi, Lisa. I'm so excited.
I am very excited to have you here too, and I'm going to change my background so it's not so cluttered there. But Heather, now, is it human?
It's Hyman.
Okay. I was going to say that, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Hyman. Yes, I remember. Welcome, Heather Hyman. So Heather and I originally I met Heather online through a group that we're both a part of, a a uh, it wasn't a mastermind, it's just a group, another business coach that we were involved with in terms of building memberships, and kind of saw her in that group and started to follow her and just really started to listen to her message and really love what she's doing, and found out that she is a kingdom minded entrepreneur, a faith based woman who is on a mission, and her whole area is in social media in terms of digital marketing. Now, let me get the proper terminology here for you. She's a social media strategist, international keynote speaker, and author of The Golden Rules of Social Media Marketing, which we're going to talk about in a few minutes here. And Heather has 21 years experience in sales, social media, and business, and was identified as a 2019 top business influencer, and she is the founder and CEO of Social Thrive Business Academy, and also she has a podcast called Business Jesus and Sweet Tea. I love that name, Sweet Tea. So, Heather, I wanted to have you on today because one is I love the work you're doing. I've tapped into some of your challenges, and I know you have, I believe, a challenge coming up here next week that we definitely want people to know about. But I think when I first came in contact with you, the name of your company was, or you were branding, Social Tea Marketing. Is that correct?
Yeah, super close. So ultimately is still our umbrella company. So it's
Okay.
Sweet Tea Social Marketing.
Ah, there you go. Okay, awesome. So Heather, tell our listeners today where you're coming from, but also how you got into doing what you're doing today.
Absolutely. So, yes, guys, I am right now in sunny South Carolina, and I am married almost 19 years. I've got 3 kids, 10, 12, 16, 2 dogs. And so, yeah, I'm in my home office right now, having nothing to do with the pandemic. This is just kind of like the lifestyle that we've set up, that I've had my company where I've been able to work out of our home office. But yeah, how I got into digital marketing truly is like a God story. And so, really, just to kind of go back, and you can feel free to ask me to elaborate on anything. But if I were to give you kind of like the 4 minute or less version, 21 years ago, I was a special education teacher teaching middle school, and I had got married while I was in college. And so the person I was married to wanted to get their doctorate degree, got accepted a full scholarship with this program. So I quit my teaching job. We moved into married housing. And about at the time, it was like 3 weeks before school started for, the local public schools. So I wasn't able to get a job in the teaching realm. So I ended up going to my like background, what I had done in college, which was customer service management at a local grocery store that I had worked at all through college. And we lived there maybe 6.5 weeks. And the person that I was married to about 5 years came home, and I'm not exaggerating, but in about a 2-minute conversation said they didn't want to be married anymore. They wanted me to move out. I didn't meet their needs physically, spiritually, emotionally, or intellectually, and that I needed to get my stuff and move out.
Wow.
And so in that moment, I was 25. I was heartbroken. I was like, what is happening? He at the time was a believer. I was a believer. Honestly, I was just really just broken and shaken. And in the midst of even that conversation, I stayed around 2 months longer. But at the end of the day, when you're staying in married housing and the other person is the student, you're kind of like, I think I have to leave. And it's like, I don't know what to do. So just through God's hand, I ended up moving to the beach with that company that I was just working for. They had a position. I started working 65 hours a week in a town where nobody knew me. I was dying on the inside and was really just at a really rough spot. But I ended up going, I like what I'm doing. But at that moment, how I truly got into digital marketing was I wanted normal. And in the midst of all that crazy, normal for me meant I need a job that's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 again, because I was that newly single, divorced girl that was working every 2 to 11 p.m. shift. I was working Easter, and I was like, this is crazy. So I ended up meeting the owner of a digital marketing agency. I had nobody else to be responsible for, so I took about a $15,000 pay cut so I could have a normal job. So I became an office manager at this digital marketing agency. In the course of about 2.5 years, ultimately ended up going from office manager to project manager to graphic designer to web designer. So this is during like 2000. This is like the dot-com boom. Huge accounts, Wilson, Subway. And I ultimately, that's how I got into digital marketing. And then if you fast forward 2002, that's when I met my current husband, Wayne. We got married. He joined the military, moved all around. And on that journey, I ultimately am just a connector. And so I was just for fun, making Yahoo groups, bringing military women together, showing them where to find fun stuff. And then fast forward 2010, I went to graduate school. I got a master's degree in management and leadership. And it really just opened up all these doors to where I started my first company in 2011. And I used Facebook and Twitter to grow that from absolutely nothing to a 6-figure business. And then we moved again in 2014 to my hometown, which is here in South Carolina. And I pretty much almost started over again. And I just really felt God was like, you don't have to now be limited to this zip code in Kentucky. I can use you wherever because of the internet. So I launched Sweet Tea Social Marketing. And that's really when I went headfirst into saying, I love connecting people. I love helping them with social media. And I ultimately just snowballed from there.
Wow. So I love, thank you for sharing that, because it lets our listeners know that you have, like, you're not just doing this because, oh, wow, this is the need out in the market there, so I'm just going to jump in and learn this and do it. You actually are intimately acquainted with every step, the graphic design, the website design, the whole marketing aspect, that there's pieces of that you have experience in, that you understand where that business owner is at in terms of the pieces.
Exactly. And see, the thing is, like, currently, I'm not I don't like web design, but I have a mind to go like your social needs to match the branding of what your website is. And I do believe it helps me in my role as a social media strategist be able to help my clients, whether they're just, one-time consulting clients, or we're helping someone with a campaign, or they're long-term inside of our program. And
Mm.
it really just helps me say, this is ultimately the representation for your brand overall. Now let's use social media to help you cultivate connections, build relationships, and let people know that you're the real deal, and ultimately nurture those to become paying clients.
Mm. What do you find are the biggest struggles that your potential clients have, or entrepreneurs have when it comes to social media marketing?
Yeah, so I would say like the number one thing is overwhelm and slash annoyance with all of the changes. And then
Mm.
on the other side, it's that business that's going, I'm trying to do this myself, or I've got a team, or we've got someone that's our marketing director, but they're just struggling to kind of almost keep up with what's working now. And so it's that
Mm.
balance of one, validating that they're not crazy, because the changes impact everybody, whether they hate social media and they're just trying their best to kind of muddle their way through it, or if it's someone that like that's something they geek out on, like me. And I'm like, yay, another blog post came out with details about this. And I love to go in and test this and test that. And so it's, the thing I tell my clients, and the thing that I ultimately really just want to advocate to people, is to say it can feel overwhelming, especially if you're just trying to do all the things. And
Mhm.
so, my biggest, and I hope that this is a relief, maybe even to your audience, is you want to try to shine and look really good, at least on one place,
Mm.
because too often people say to themselves, social is free, so I'm going to have accounts everywhere. And then they honestly look terrible for their brand, like most places, because they're spreading themselves so thin. So
Mm.
I ultimately try to encourage my clients, and it's not the same as put all your eggs in one basket, but I'm just saying you need to look good. You need
Yeah.
to look stellar, and you need to look like I am going to have a positive experience because you look credible, and it because you're consistent and you're showing up and you're delivering immense value, versus that brand that is so overwhelmed trying to be on 5 and 7 social platforms that they can't keep up. They ultimately end up giving up. And then the only time they're thinking of social is like while they're in the shower, they're washing their hair, and they're like, oh my goodness, it's been weeks since I've done anything. And then that ultimately just leaves them with this sinking feeling of feeling bad, but not necessarily taking action to just do something and do it really well.
That's so good because I think there's a fear that, if I'm not on all of these, I'm gonna miss out on the opportunities that may be waiting for me on all these other platforms. And so there's this kind of like, just throw it all out there and see what lands, kind of sticking it on the but I hear you saying that they're just pick one, follow through, be consistent, be visible, and make yourself known, and in that, so what would you say in terms of the entrepreneur that is afraid of missing out, in terms, one way I'm thinking about in terms of not gaining clarity around who their ideal audience is, or ideal client that they're looking for, and just wanting to get their message out to everyone.
Yeah, so everyone's not your client. Everyone does not want to do business with you, and you're not a good fit for everyone. So I'll just kind of take that off of your mental plate, because that's not true. That's not what you need to focus on. So to almost make everyone feel better is the way you decide where you decide to show up on social media is where are those people already spending time. You
Beautiful.
know that probably more so once you know really clearly on who your audience is. And for that person that you just mentioned, that's like, I'm afraid I'm missing out. I'm not here to tell you to be like, I'm banning or I'm boycotting or I'm just not doing those other platforms. But here's how you do it the right way. My advice is if you have 2 hours a week to dedicate to social media, I want 80% of your effort to be on that one platform that your dream customers are spending time
Mhm.
every day. Then take 20% of your time and say, what I'm going to do is take my most popular post from Facebook that performed last week, and that's going to be what I kind of focus on regarding content on LinkedIn. That's going to kind of be what I focus on. And you want to pivot. You don't want to just copy and paste the exact same paragraph and paste it everywhere. But I find too many people say, I've got 2 hours. I'm going to give 20 minutes to 7 platforms, and they just look average. But if you begin doing what I'm saying, which is 80% of your effort into one platform, and
Mm.
if you take that 20% and you're intentional with your time and you're not watching cat videos, you'll be able to say, oh, there is a recent post in the last month from me on LinkedIn. Oh, there is a recent post from me on Instagram within the last 2 weeks. So it's not going to look like you have completely ghosted, and you're not going to completely be missing out.
Beautiful. I love that. So was there a time in your business as you began to develop this business that you have right now where you narrowed your niche? And
So
what was
great
that like for
question.
you?
So if I pull out my business cards here in my office, it would say in 2014, when I first launched Sweet Tea Social Marketing, it would say that I served small and medium-sized businesses, nonprofits, and churches. And that was my version of being like, here's who I'm serving. And it wasn't a marketing play, but I just really began about a year later. So that's about 2015. I just really began feeling God lay on my heart to say, you're a believer. There are so many people out there in the marketplace that have heard nothing their entire lives, which is like, you don't talk about religion and politics. You don't incorporate your faith with your work. And I completely disagree. And so I just really felt God calling me to say, you're a digital missionary. You're not an
Mm.
expertise in all of these businesses, but marketing and social media strategy is your gift. That's what you're good at. So if you show up as a digital missionary and you partner to serve and help all of these believers that are running and operating their faith, that either don't know social media or they just need help, then by me helping them with their marketing, I am going to be able to help amplify Christ. Because my
Mm.
goal and my hope is that if you are a Christian CEO or you are a Christian entrepreneur, you're doing business differently. It doesn't necessarily mean you're posting Bible verses, though you might be, but the way you're operating with your clients and your customers and your team and the way you deliver, and we want to be doing things with excellence and representing Christ well. So I just see it as a way for me to partner and come alongside other believers to just amplify Christ. Like that's my whole mission for what we're doing.
Wow, I love that. I love that digital missionary. I love that terminology. So I know that you are a speaker and you speak at places all over the world, both online and in person. And you'll get back to that in person, I'm sure. So
Yes.
for my because many of my listeners, of course, are interested in the whole speaking aspect as well, because that's my gift in terms of helping people get their voice heard and their message out there. And what would you say in terms of the role that speaking has played in growing your business or just in getting you to where you're at today?
So I truly believe that if you are willing to put yourself out there as a speaker, like I feel that it helps immensely with credibility. And I mean, as a Christian, I feel like it's such a great way to just to serve. And it's not necessarily going, am I selling from the stage? I ultimately just invite people to go, like, if you want more information or if you want a copy of my slides, just bring me your business cards. Or
Mhm.
if you have a question, just come up. And, if you have people 30-40% of the audience coming up and handing you their business card because they want to maintain that connection and stay in touch, it ultimately times leads to other speaking events. It leads to clients, and it has this way, I feel, of amplifying more in your life of what God is giving you now. And if anything, I can think sometimes people are afraid to start scrappy, or they're afraid to start local because they might have a certain vision of what that particular stage might look like. So it's like, if I look back, the first time I did public speaking was in 2012 at my master's graduation ceremony. And fast forward, I could tell you 15 times that I spoke either completely for free or just for the Rotary Club because I wanted to give back on a local level. And I just have personally felt that if it's a skill that you want to get better at, just like doing video, whatever you want to improve upon, you've got to be willing to put in the hours to master it. So if you want the speaking event where they're going to pay you $8,000 to come and do a 1 hour, presentation, then I believe that we have to really hone that skill, earn that opportunity, and really believe that those opportunities are available for us, but for us to really not almost scour at the small places that we can begin, because those can ultimately be great stepping stones for future speaking events. And that's kind of been my story.
That is so good. Thank you for sharing that, because that is so true. Don't despise small beginnings. You got
Yeah.
to, I forget who said this. I'm not sure if it was Les Brown or one of the greats, Jim Rohn or someone said, every great speaker was once a bad speaker. So, that we all start somewhere. And I'm sure, just like with social media, digital marketing, there's a mess sometimes that we have that we need to work through in order to get to that message that we want to deliver, whether it be gain clarity about how you want to show up on social media, what your branding is. And I'm sure that's what you help your clients do as well, is to really get clear on that. I'd love to, if you would let us know, who are the people that you would say are your ideal client?
Oh, that's a good question. So, my ideal client are those Christian CEOs, those Christian business owners that are at a place where they might be wearing multiple hats to include their social media hat, or they currently have a team. And by team, I'm talking about an intern, a VA, a marketing assistant, or someone that is trying to help you with your social media marketing. And that person needs help. That person needs to know what strategy is going to work for your business, your brand, like really what the blueprint should look like. And you don't have the time to train them on how to do that. And to be honest, that may not be your expertise. And so what I am here to say is I like to teach people how to fish. And so ultimately my whole business model is I've got a done for you service where we have 5 or less clients that hire us to say, will you just come in and do our social media for 90 days? And during that process, will you train up our team on how to do it? And like we're physically doing it for them. And then the other side is we've got our 12-month signature program, Social Thrive Business Academy, where the CEO, as well as anyone on their team, comes into our program, has one-to-one coaching with me every single month, but also gets templates, tactics, the how-tos, the like, okay, I'm going to screen share, click this button, like the logistics of the how, but also like the high level strategy and the plan, and then consistent ongoing training. And so it's that person that's like, we're not at a position that we want to outsource $3,500 a month for done for you marketing at an agency that's really just maybe just pulling a bunch of templates and really not giving you a real true representation of your voice. And so we almost like to say, let's help you build either you and or your team up. So on the inside, you've got people that are really taking to social media with your right voice, with your exact persona, and you're really doing social media well, because so many people just try to outsource that for the cheapest dollar that they can get. And I'm the person here to tell you, outsource what you don't need to be doing. That's awesome. But by you finding a designer or someone on Fiverr that can make graphics for you is not the same thing as that person knowing how to post on social media in order to get engagement, how to drive leads, and how for you to scale and grow your business.
That is so good. I just had a thought and it's gone now. I was gonna I was gonna ask you about something you said there in terms of oh, yeah. Oh, I know what it was. Yes. So in terms of the aspects of paid and free, do you and I'm sure that you know, teach on both in some way, but I know a lot of the blocks that people have is they see that they only have to do paid advertisement on social media and they're resistant to that. And do you have a kind of a rule of thumb as to when someone should do paid as opposed to free? Like, is there a certain place in their business? What are your thoughts on that?
So yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, I in full disclaimer, I am not a paid Facebook expert. Or paid ads person. So my huge thing is I'm about organic social media, how to build your income, how to build your online influence and visibility so you can have more of an impact for Jesus. And so I focus on strategies and tactics that organically without paid can help you completely shine on social. That said, I've got a launch coming up next week, and I've set aside $1,200 that I have a paid Facebook ad expert that is helping me find more people that are my ideal people that are beyond my current audience, my current scope. So at the end of the day, I chose to spend $1,200. I could have also chose to spend $1 a day and see what result I get. And so it's like there's so much testing that's involved, but it's almost like the short version, Lisa, is organic social media is not dead. And people are coming to look at you before they come to buy from you. And if you're not there, why on earth might you expect that they're going to be so excited to come and follow you when you're not actually showing up yourself?
Wow.
And the one tip I would say is for someone that wants to explore paid advertising on a really simple level. You want your content on social to perform well for free before you kind of go, I'm going to put money behind it. So if you post 30 things in the last 30 days and you're like, this post, I don't know why, but it got 19 shares, 59 comments, and it's about my business, that's the post you pick. And you say, I'm going to promote that to my target audience or to my current followers and their friends.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that. Yes, I agree with you that organic, there's a lot still happening out there. So I would love for you now, as we close up our interview today, is just to share about you have is it called a challenge?
Yeah, it's a 5-day training. So yeah.
5-day training. I know there's different terminology out there. So I've just pulled up is create connections, clients, and cash with social media. Is that the right one?
That's it.
So if someone wanted to tap into that, where shall they go? Where should they go?
Yep. So you're going to want to go to sweettteasocialmarketing.com/free training. Or if you didn't hear a thing I said, you can comment below, just type the word link, and I will even just pay attention to this thread and I'll happily come and tag you and send it to you. But the training kicks off on Monday. It's 5 days in a row at noon Eastern Standard Time. There are recordings. It all takes place in my private Facebook community. And this is for the CEO, the business owner, and your team is welcome to also come so that you and them can all be on the same page and really be able to maximize the free training, because we're going to give you pretty much the full blueprint that you need to increase your revenue using social.
Okay, I'm going to get you to say that again in terms of the website. And I'm going to put it up, Sweet Tea.
socialmarketing.com/free training.
And so free training. That way it's just here. You don't have to go looking for it. It's done. show. There we go. Did I get all the,
Yes, that's perfect.
except for the period after the comma there. Don't
Oh,
put that
yeah.
in there.
Yeah. Sorry. Yep.
No, that's my bad. Typing too fast. Let me just remove that right away here. Save, and we'll go back. So here we are. If you want to tap in, I encourage you. I'm going to be there. I'm going to join in the sweetteasocialmarketing.com/free training so that you can, one, get a taste of what Heather's all about and what she does and how she serves her clients, and take away some practical tips, I'm sure, that you can use right away. And be ready to do some work, though, right?
That's right. In fact, I'm laughing. I just used the last bit of ink in my printer to print out the workbook, and we send this workbook to everybody that gets registered, and it's literally for you to be able to take the notes down. So by the time you're done with our 5-day training, you've got your blueprint.
Awesome. Well, just as we close out here, I also wanted to give a shout out to you for the book that you've written. It's called The Golden Rules of Social Media Marketing. And here are all your social handles here. Where can someone buy this? Can you want to direct them to Amazon, or do you have another place?
If they just go to Amazon, if you happen to have Amazon Prime, shipping is completely free, but Amazon is your friend to get the book.
Awesome. And who is this for? Is this for like the beginner, for the intermediate business CEO?
You know, that's a really good question. I mean, when I wrote this book, I wanted it to be focused on strategy that was timeless, because I think what happens in social media, everyone is so looking at all the shiny objects and all of the trends. And I was like, if I'm going to go to the effort to write a book, this cannot be an irrelevant book 6 months after I write it. So this book is really heavily focused on human behavior, why people choose to do what they do, and what you as a CEO and leader in business can incorporate into your social media strategy today moving forward. And you can say, this is going to help us no matter the technical changes on the platforms that may change. These are how people can come to trust me, have a relationship built with me that's different than my competitors, and help them have me top of mind as a business, and help them want to come to do business with us. So I know that didn't specifically answer, but I am a huge believer in nothing's going to happen in the business if the leader, the CEO, the full primary decision maker is not on board. So if you're the person doing social, but you don't own the company, this is going to help you do your job better. And if you are the leader and you aren't satisfied, this book is going to help you be like, what are we missing? What of these strategies? Because, you know, the book is called The Golden Rules of Social Media Marketing. There's 15 in the book, but the whole book is really about the biblical, true golden rule. And that really is treat people the way you want to be treated. If you're a speaker and you want more people on social talking about you and saying you're awesome and saying that you're a great speaker on topic X, then I'm going to challenge you and say, when was the last time you went to LinkedIn and just left 7 positive recommendations to other amazing people that you know, and just like do what you'd love to see come back to you, and not to do it because you're like being manipulative, but do it going like, I want to show up every day as a leader, and I want to be like leaving positive reviews, going and subscribing to people's podcasts, because I know that if I had just written the book, or if I had just made a podcast, or if I had a new blog post that I was just desperately wanting more people to know about, that I'd want people to share it, buy it, talk about it. So am I doing any of those things for other people's? So treat people the way you want to be treated, bottom line, as it relates to your social media strategy.
I love it. That's beautiful. It's the abundant mindset. There's enough to go around. And
Absolutely.
yeah, just really cheer one another on. And especially as kingdom-minded women entrepreneurs, it's, you know, we need to celebrate each other, not be threatened by, not be in competition. It's collaborating and celebrating, because the truth is this: there may be people listening who are also digital marketing experts, but guess what? there, you and them are going to reach different people, because who you are, Heather, is designed to give of your gift in the way that you, and this is what I preach all the time or teach
Mm,
my clients, is that, you know what, it doesn't matter if someone's speaking on the same subject. They can't speak it the way you can. They can't deliver it because of your experience, your expertise, your learning, and the unique bent that God has given you to bring out the world. So we are all here today to give our gift to the world as God put it within us, so that we can, just like Heather so nicely said, amplify Jesus and let him be lifted up, because at the end of the day, it's all about him, and it's all about being his voice on the earth, being his hands and feet, and really bringing the kingdom in everywhere we go, expanding the kingdom and influencing people to bring them into a place of truth, freedom
mm.
in who he called them to be. So I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I've loved having a chance to just talk with you today.
My pleasure. And we look forward to connecting with you in the future. And those who are at a place, you need to have something done with your social media. Maybe you just need someone to come alongside you, but you just need to know, okay, how do I get past this overwhelm? I want to encourage you to go and check out Heather's training next week. That will be a great first step. And also get a hold of her book and really gain clarity as to what are the next steps for you, so that you can show up and be who you are, that God has called you to be, and be a light and really be a voice of influence in the place that God has called you to. Thank you for tuning in today. I look forward to connecting with you next time, and be sure to share this with your friends and people that you know need to hear all about what's happening with Heather, and who want to know other kingdom minded entrepreneurs that are making a difference in the world. So stay tuned for next time. We'll see you.